الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وما كفر سليمان ولكن الشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر وما أنزل على الملكين ببابل هاروت وماروت وما يعلمان من أحد حتى يقولا إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر فيتعلمون منهما ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم ولقد علموا لمن اشتراه ما له في الآخرة من خلاق ولبئس ما شروا به أنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون صدق الله العظيم. Regarding ayat number 102 of Surat al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. And the Ahli Kitab, the wicked from amongst them, they followed whatever was recited by the shayateen, whatever was recited by the devils, ala mulki Sulaiman, during the kingdom of Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam. وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ. And Sulaiman alayhi salam, he never disbelieved in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he never involved in kufr. But the shayateen, the devils, they did kufr. They disbelieved يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ, by teaching people magic. And the main purpose of this type of magic was the destruction of society, and the destruction of human lives. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a test for that nation. He tells us, وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ. And these wicked from the Ahli Kitab, they were also following whatever was revealed, were sent to the two angels, Harut and Marut. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this the test for that qawm, for that nation in Babel, in present day Iraq. Their test was that to have this desire to want power as human beings, as insan. There are many, many desires that we have, but amongst the most powerful and strongest of desires is this human need to, or this human want, this human desire to have power. Especially that type of power where there is control involved, where we want to control someone or control something. And the greatest type of power, when we get to that level, the people of power, the one thing that they desire is that people should fear them. Because with fear they understand that when people fear us, then that is real control, that is real power, that is where people will respect us. So this is what the human desire is, or what the human desire wants, amongst the many other desires. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, throughout human history, has tested insan with various desires. Has tested insan, this human being, in various ways, in relation to their shahawat, in relation to their desires. If you look at Qawm Ad, physical strength and power, this was their desire, and they used that to oppress the other nations. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them. Their test was their physical strength, which is physical power. Coming to Qawm Thamud, the test was intellectual power, intellectual strength. They were a very, very intellectual nation, a nation that was also very amazing in their structural design, in their structural construction, in their buildings and whatever they used to construct. They were amazing architects and amazing engineers. They even built their cities in mountains. If you go to one of their cities that is still there till today, one can be surprised what kind of cities they built. We build our buildings, go there after 200-300 years, go see the condition of the building. But these structures have been there for thousands of years. These were built before Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. And they're still not only standing today, you can still go inside. They're still in a very amazing condition. Even some of the markings that they made on those rocks, those markings are still there till today. This is the amazing kind of structure and the kind of skill set that this nation had, Qawm Thamud had. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made their own intellect, their intellectual power, made that their test. And they used that to oppress other nations. The same came to governmental power and control of the masses. We have the case of Namrud, he used to control the masses. The case of Fir'aun, he made people afraid, so he controlled them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, فَاسْتَخَفَّ قَوْمَهُ فَأَطَاعُوهُ. He made his nation fear him. His nation was so afraid of him. فَأَطَاعُوهُ, so they obeyed him. And this is the tactic of every government. That the more the people fear the government, the more control that government will have over its people. Once the people lose the fear of government, then that government is in trouble. And we find it's going on. So governments in various ways will tell people things that how true they may be, but they'll tell people things that will make the people afraid. We are watching you, your messages are all, in our databases. We know what you're saying, we know we're watching you, we see you. They're giving people various ideas that they're being watched, giving people various ideas that we know your messages and we know what you are doing. And sometimes governments will show their power in various ways to keep the rest of the people in check. You punish one, you put 100 in line. They used to have this kind of social experiment done with little children, 2-3-year-olds. So whenever the 2-year-old or 3-year-old, they would act up, so the parent would take a doll, a little toy doll, and just smack it, and the child would come back into it. Don't try it. I'm just sharing with you. They would take a little baby doll and just smack the baby doll and look at the child, and the child would come under control. Because human psychology works like this. They see what kind of force a person has against someone else, so everyone else comes in line. So this is the same system of power that the people of Babylon, or the Ahli Kitab in Babylon, they also wanted. They wanted the people to fear them. And they wanted control over the masses, that people would be afraid to mess with them in any way. Because they felt that through this power, there was also respect. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a means of test for this nation, sent 2 angels that also showed the effect of wahi when it can be used to harm someone. When some of the words are twisted or it is recited in a particular way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed this type of sihr as a means of test for the people of Babylon, as a means of test of their desire. And that test is still there. Many of those tests still apply today. You check the test of power, strength, physical force. There are many, many nations that are very, very powerful, both intellectually and both physically. Their test is if they will establish justice or they will oppress the people. Any nation that has gone to oppression, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destroyed them also. There are also others that involve in various ways to harm people. So this was the test of the people of Babel, that they were able to learn this type of sihr, the dark arts. And this type of sihr was very, very dangerous. It didn't have any benefit whatsoever. It was a means of destroying someone. And we know as human beings that yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created things in this world and has created things within His universal system. And we're going to only talk about this world because this is what we know. But within the makhluqat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, within the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed both benefit and harm in His creation. How beneficial something can be that much harm it can also cause. You just come to our day-to-day lives, how beneficial electricity can be, how much benefit we take from it. Many of us, because we live in a quite advanced society, so we take it for granted. But you go to some of those countries where there's live wire, where the wires aren't hidden the way they are here, you'll see what kind of power electricity can have. It shocks a person and kills them. It puts them in their place. Not only that, it can fry a human being. Electricity is very, very powerful. Not only that, we have nuclear reactors to make this electricity. So how beneficial the nuclear reactors are. How much benefit they bring. Without them, we would not have this kind of 24 hours and 7 days a week electricity where it never runs out. They have this system there, making this electricity. How much benefit it brings. On the same side, when you flip the coin, or on the flip side of the coin, how destructive is nuclear force? How destructive is nuclear weapons? The same energy, the same item. On one side, how much benefit? On the other side, how much harm? So this is just within the human world, and that's not one thing. You can apply this to anything and everything. You can apply it to everything that we have in our lives. How beneficial cars are, vehicles are. How much benefit they bring us. At the same time, how destructive they are. How many accidents, how many people die in accidents. This is just the reality. On one side, how much benefit. On the other side, how much harm. Small sickness breaks out, everybody's afraid. They give you these statistics of, 50 people died within 2 weeks. They never give you the statistics of how many people die from driving. Because even if they do, people will still drive. You can't get around without it. You go see, in reality, is how beneficial on one side, yet how much harm. Similarly, when it comes to the wahi, the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for those who take it seriously, even you take kalamullah, take the Quran, for those who make it the purpose of their life to be guided through it, how much guidance Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to people. But on the other side, when people have thrown it behind their backs, and people have disrespected the kalamullah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also disgraced them. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَرْفَعُ بِهَذَا الْكِتَابِ أَقْوَامًا وَيَضَعُ بِهِ آخَرِينَ. Definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has elevated and brought to honor many, many people by this kalam, by this Quran. And He has also disgraced many by the same book. There were many, many people who were disgraced, many, many people who were cursed, many groups of people that have been cursed by the same Quran. On one side, it can become a means of, it can become a shafi'ah for you. It can become an intercessor on your behalf and you'll be saved. But also it can intercede against you. Oh Allah, this person or such and such a person had these qualities. No matter how good that person will be, in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that person will be finished. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save all of us. So this also wahi has this effect. On one side it has the effect to benefit many, many people. On the other side, the same kalam, the same Quran. You find this Quran, many of us, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us how much guidance through this Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a means of guidance for us. But there are many people that read the same ayat, but because in their hearts there's no iman, there's only kufr, they try to find mistakes or they try to find flaws. They try to find something in the Quran that will make them disbelieve. Because they don't want to believe. They don't even have that zeal to want to be guided. So that same Quran, that same kalam, those same ayat become a means of their misguidance. So this was the test of the people of Babylon. This power, this fear, that yes, they have this type of power to harm people, to cause a kind of harm to people. So these angels, they were sent as a test for the people of Babylon. وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ حَتَّى يَقُولَا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. So these malaika, Harut and Marut, they never used to teach anyone this sihr. They would never teach anyone magic, حَتَّى يَقُولَا, until both of them made it clear to that person, إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. We are a fitna for you. We are a test for you. We are a trial for you. فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. So don't do kufr. Don't involve in disbelief and in kufr by learning this type of sihr. But if the people insisted and they still wanted to learn, and this was their test when they learned it, and how they used it. Remember one thing, ilm in itself, on one side, there's that ilm which can become a means of benefit for you. That type of ilm that carries ajr and reward with it. When it comes to the ulum and the funun, comes to the sciences and knowledge, what is actual ilm itself. So there's that type of ilm which is a farida. There's a type of ilm which is a farida. It is an obligation of every Muslim man and woman to know. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us in a hadith, طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم ومسلمة. The seeking knowledge, it is a farida, it is fard upon every Muslim man and every Muslim woman. And the ulama, muhaddithin and fuqaha, mufassirin also, they have come together, they have mentioned that this hadith is talking about that ilm that relates to your day-to-day life of what is halal and what is haram. That is why the word talab is used, talab al-ilm, the seeking knowledge, meaning seeking out what is halal in your life, what is haram in your life. That type of ilm is fard on you. You must know. It's not optional. It's farida. It's an obligation. You must know what is halal, what is haram. This is the minimum that fard on every single Muslim. Part of that, what is halal and what is permissible. What are the fara'id, what are the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us. What are the rights of our fellow people around us. These huquq, it's a fard to know. Every Muslim must know. You must know the huququllah, you must know the huququl ibad. This is farida, there's no option in this. You have to know. And there's no excuse for not knowing. On the Day of Judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us about a certain haqq, maybe we didn't fulfill the right of someone. On the Day of Judgment, there will be no excuse, oh, I didn't know. So you are a Muslim. Why didn't you know? This much is fard on you. You have to know. Then there are a type of ulum, type of knowledge, where they're not a fard, but they carry ajr. Such as how to benefit humanity. For example, writing and understanding, spreading certain types of knowledge through writing, or spreading certain types of skill set that may benefit people. A type of skill set that benefits people, it carries immense ajr. So that knowledge which goes on to benefit someone, that type of knowledge carries immense ajr and reward. Even a person may leave this dunya, the ajr of that will continue to benefit him. If somebody has a skill set to be able to teach people how to build water wells, and they're able to go to areas where people don't have water, they're able to make a system for them, for those people to have water, so long as people are benefiting from that. And this person also teaches the skill of how to build those water wells, or build a water dam. How much benefit can come from it. And he goes on to teach that skill also. So even if he passes away, leaves this dunya, the ajr of that will continue to come to him, so long as he was a Muslim. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us that إِذَا مَاتَ الْعَبْدِ إِنْ قَطَعَ عَنْهُ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. That when a person passes away, his connection with this world, his connection with the rewards, with a'mal, with deeds, it is cut off. إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ, except for three things. There are three things that even a person passes away, the reward of that continues to go to him. One of them, أَوْ عِلْمِ يَنْتَفَعُ بِهِ, where a person leaves behind the knowledge where people are benefiting from it. And a person teaches someone the tilawat of Quran, and that person goes on to continue teaching people. Someone teaches someone how to pray salah, someone teaches someone the huquq of the deen of Allah, someone teaches someone how to benefit humanity, various skills in engineering and medicine. Even it doesn't have to be necessarily a religious knowledge, but for the benefit of humanity, that person teaches someone, and that benefit continues to benefit humanity. This person was a Muslim, the reward will continue to go to them. So that is also one type of ilm, where it is a type of knowledge or a skill where the person is rewarded, and that reward comes in this dunya and also in the akhirah. Then there are types of ulum, there are types of knowledges in this world, and funun, sciences in this world, that they do not necessarily become a means of benefit for someone else, but they're a benefit for the person himself. There are types of sciences where if a person learns them, so he can benefit. But how much he can benefit someone, it's not very much. But he himself will at least benefit. And they are not something that you can teach everyone. Somebody has it, you can teach them. Somebody doesn't have it, very little you can do. There are some people. There's different types of people. Everybody has a different type of mind. Everybody has a different type of thinking. Everybody has different types of skills. So there are some people, their skill is they can read patterns. Everything in life in the world is patterns to them. They can find patterns in everything. The patterns in human life, patterns in human psychology, patterns within human society. They're very, very logical type of people. Everything is 1, 2, 3, 4 for them. Their mind is like this. Yeah, so the person himself can benefit. But if you ask him to explain it, he cannot explain it. He doesn't even know how to explain it to you. Then, okay, hold on, wait. This puzzle is like this to me. It doesn't even make any sense. But for the person himself, he can derive so much benefit from it. So much so that he can even figure out what kind of people should be his friends, what kind of people should not be his friends. He can find out patterns within human society, finding various particular places where to live because of particular reasons. So they're very, very calculated type of people. But that is only for themselves. They cannot teach someone else, or they cannot explain to someone else why they do something. To them it makes sense, to other people it makes no sense. There are other people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them the skill of speech, bayan. They can give amazing, they can explain anything to anyone. They can even explain something they themselves don't understand, I have seen something like this. One of our friends, he could explain to you something he himself did. He could explain it better than someone who was an expert in the field. And this person just read some 1, 2 papers on something, and all of a sudden he can start explaining something. It's so beautiful, you'll think this person is a scholar in this field. And they tell you, no, I only read this 1 paper, that's it, I got the message. But you didn't know anything else. But that gift, to be able to teach someone to speak, Allahu Akbar. They have these speech courses. They teach you how to speak. Stand in this way and move your hand like this and stand like this and be confident. You can't teach someone how to speak. Speech is a gift. Either you have it or you don't have it. So there are some people that are like this. There are other people that have a kind of memory. They remember everything. They have a very unique memory. But this skill set of being able to remember something, it benefits them. They cannot teach someone how to. They have these kind of courses or books or something you can read, and they can teach you how to remember, They have these funny little courses, memory temple or whatever they call memory palace, or this low side method of memory, or whatever they call it. Funny other skills you can learn. Try to teach yourself how to remember something, but it doesn't work. Not for everybody. There are some people, yes, subhanAllah, they can recall almost anything. And how they do it, even you ask them, they don't know. You tell them, how did you remember that from 5 years ago? They say, I don't know. One of our shuyukh, he was like this. He used to tell us, 15 years ago, I was sitting on an aeroplane. It was kind of cloudy, and, I was looking through the book, and that book was, the book cover was red, and the page had these many lines on it, and on page number this, it said this. How do you remember that? He said, I don't know. But they used to be able to remember. But if you try to learn some skill set to do that, it's impossible. So there are types of ulum, there are types of knowledges where it benefits the person who has it or the person who understands it, but they don't know how to benefit someone else with it. That is one type of knowledge also. There's another type of knowledge also. That type of knowledge, where it is nothing but harm in it. Knowing it is harmful. Learning it is harmful. It has no benefit whatsoever. Amongst those type of knowledge is sihr, magic. There are other types of knowledges that are like this also. It's not just sihr, not just magic. But there are other types of sciences, other types of knowledge, like sihr and magic, which learning it has no benefit. Along with it, teaching it, knowing it has no benefit. And even to use it, there's no way to use it to benefit someone. Yes, you can use it to make people fear you. You can use it to make people, just to make people subservient to you, to obey you. And these type of sciences, they're very, very dangerous. They have no benefit. There is a skill set in general. So sihr is one, magic. There are others like this also. There used to be, and there still is, specific types of martial arts. Now, understand one thing. In general, martial arts and being physically fit and learning to defend yourself, self-defense, this is a sunnah, and one must know this. One must know how to, at least to some degree, defend themselves. Know some sense of self-defense. The vast majority of martial arts, it's allowed. It's self-defense is good for you, good for your health. And learning how to defend yourself, if you do with the niyyah of that it is a sunnah, it also becomes ajr for you. But there are some martial arts where they only teach someone how to kill. There's nothing, not self-defense whatsoever. But all they teach is if you ever end up in a battlefield, they're only used for battlefields. And they only teach you how to kill someone. There is absolutely no self-defense involved in it. If somebody hits you, you hit them like this and the person will fall dead. I don't know them, okay? I'm just sharing with you that there are particular types of martial arts that are more military based. They're only used to kill someone. If you know it, you have no benefit because you can never use it. If you use it, you kill someone, yes? Also learning it, of what benefit does it do to you? But yes, you can use it to make people afraid of you. So that becomes again haram. So to learn how to kill someone for no reason whatsoever, it has no benefit. You can defend yourself without killing someone. You can, yes, hurt the person, paralyze the person, put the person down. There are ways to defend yourself without killing the person. Yes, there are particular uses for that type of martial arts. If there was a battle or in the battlefield, yeah. Nowadays, mashallah, there is no face-to-face battle, you know. Even all the skills you can have, yeah, these guns and these weapons they have now, it's almost obsolete, these kind of things. But there was a type of martial art, and there are a few like that. Some of them in Malaysia and Indonesia, silat. There are some types of silat, it's very dangerous. There are other types of martial arts, ninjutsu and some others, where they only specialize in how to kill someone. That's it. There's no benefit to it whatsoever. So those learning those kind of things, or even knowing that type of knowledge, it can almost become haram. One might think, okay, learning it is haram. Why is it close to, or close to haram? Or I'm not a mufti, but it is close to haram, or it is haram to learn it. Why is it close to haram to know it? Because just knowing it is enough to entice you to use it. You know how many times we know something, and deep down inside we have this, this desire to use it. So why would you know something if you don't use it? So there's no benefit. So there's no need to learn that. So these are types of ulum and funun that there's no benefit whatsoever. We should stay away from it. There are other type of ulum that are clearly haram to learn. For example, shirk. In some of these schools and some of the educational systems, they teach the type of shirk that the Greeks used to have. They used to worship all these false gods, and they have stories. They tell the stories of those some made up fantasies, amazing fantasies they make up about these false idols they used to worship, these gods or these false gods they used to worship. So even knowing that is haram. Learning it is haram. There's absolute no benefit. All shirk. Learning shirk and studying shirk in any way can become haram. So these type of ulum are very, very dangerous. They have no benefit. So we should avoid them at all costs. Sihr is also one of them. Yes, it has its impact. And the people who know it use it to strike fear into people. And they also use it to control people. This is the main purpose for sihr. Main thing for learning this type of dark arts or this type of magic. Number one, to control the masses. Number two, to put fear into the hearts of the people. And this was used by many. First and foremost, Fir'aun. Not necessarily the dark arts, but he did use other forms of sihr and magic to control the masses and make the people afraid. At his time, at the time of Fir'aun, which is the time of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, there was two types of magic that was very, very famous. Both of them were used to make people afraid. One, the illusions. They used to make people see their nightmares. And the way they used to do it, they would throw a type of smoke and chemical in the air, and along with that smoke and chemical, they would make specific types of sounds. That chemical would make you hallucinate and see the thing you would fear the most. Your greatest nightmare, whatever you could fear. And then along with the particular sounds, and all of a sudden you would see things that aren't there. Make a person terrified. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this type of sihr in the Quran. سَحَرُوا أَعْيُنَ النَّاسِ اسْتَرْهَبُوهُمْ وَجَاءُوا بِسِحْرٍ عَظِيمٍ. In Surah Al-A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the type of sihr that these magicians were doing in the time of Fir'aun, at the time of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. That they did a type of sihr, they did a type of magic. سَحَرُوا أَعْيُنَ النَّاسِ. They bewitched the eyes of the people, made people see illusions that weren't there. وَاسْتَرْهَبُوهُمْ. They made people afraid, terrified. Terror. They made people afraid. وَاسْتَرْهَبُوهُمْ. Very, very deep terror and fear. وَجَاءُوا بِسِحْرٍ عَظِيمٍ. And they came with a very, very great type of sihr. Great type of magic they came with. The second type of magic at the time of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, which the magicians used against Musa alayhi salam, the magicians that were related to Fir'aun, and Fir'aun used this, was a psychic type of magic. The power of concentration. We're told in Salah, that when you pray Salah, pray with khushu' and khudu. Pray with devotion and concentration. And what is the level of our concentration in our Salah? MashaAllah. And we say Allahu Akbar and we remember everything but the salah. You remember everything. Even the color of the carpet, mashallah, in the salah. Oh, this is brown. It has this kind of marks and this kind of... At that time you're thinking of this also, subhanallah. Everything but the salah. But this is what we're taught about, this concentration. The human concentration is a very, very, very powerful thing. Very powerful. If it is utilized and it is used for khair and benefit, it can bring immense benefit to a person. But also on the other side, the Sahirin were able to use this to also try and attack people psychically. And they did it against Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells in Surah Taha, يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ سِحْرِهِمْ أَنَّهَا تَسْعَى. They were able to kind of psychically, when Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he saw the many sticks and ropes of the Sahirin. He wasn't even phased, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he's like, what is this, But when they started affecting him psychically, when they started concentrating on him, see, when it comes to the illusion of the eye, the first type, the illusion of the eyes, when the Sahirin did the illusion of the eyes, the people were afraid. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Ayat of Surah Al-A'raf that we gave wahi to Musa alayhi salam that you also throw your staff. وَوَحَيْنَا إِلَى Musa, we gave wahi to Musa alayhi salam that you also throw your stick. Inshallah, you will be successful. And he was able to, take them all out. But it doesn't mention that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was afraid. That Allah's not going, don't fear. But you go to the ayat of Surah Taha. When the Sahirin, the magicians, realized that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam is standing there, he's not even fazed by all these illusions that we're doing. Then they said, okay, let's resort to the second type of magic. So they started concentrating on Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has built and has created within every human being a defense mechanism. When something affects you psychically or from the outside, so the defense mechanism turns on inside the human body. First thing is fear. And that fear protects the person to some degree. People talk about jinn possessions, and people talk about humans also possess people. They have this strange ability. So the Sahirin were trying to do this to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And at that time, Musa alayhi salam felt fear. It's a very, very deep fear. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the ayat of Surah Taha. يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ سِحْرِهِمْ أَنَّهَا تَسْعَى. That, the Sahirin, they were affecting Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and making him see the sticks and ropes moving. فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً مُوسَى. Then at that time, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, deep down inside, he felt this khif, this very deep fear. It started, a fear that paralyzes you. That kind of fear, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he kind of felt what is going on. What is this? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the hukum, don't be afraid. You're much better than this. You're far above this. That you're letting them affect you. So this means that yes, that type of sihr also, it has some of these magicians, those specifically that are mentalists and the hypnotists and all these mesmerists, they have this effect on a person. Completely, they can paralyze and control a person. And it starts with fear. The person is completely helpless to do anything. Completely helpless. Why? Because that fear is so deep, it paralyzes the person. So that's also one type of sihr. They use to control people. The third type of sihr is this sihr that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning in this ayah 102 of Surat Al-Baqarah, where the people of Babylon, they were learning this so that they could control the masses. When it came to the attention of Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, he put a stop to it. But later on in history, there were some kings that took that sihr and they used it to control the masses. One of the famous kings, Yusuf Dhu Nawas. There was a famous king some 300 years before the coming of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Our beloved Habib Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, 300 years before him, in Yemen, there was a very, very powerful king, Yusuf Dhu Nawas. And he used this type of sihr, this dark arts, he used it to control the masses. The details are there. It's even mentioned in the Quran. Surah Al-Buruj, Allah mentions about this. Inshallah, we'll go in detail. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding. And give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.